Hello everyone, I welcome you all to my channel Revealing Concepts. In today's class, we would be seeing how to solve quadratic equations using factorization method. Before that, we would learn what is zero product property. Now, we would be using this property in order to solve the quadratic equation using factorization method. The property states that if product of two numbers is 0, then at least one of them is 0. So let's say we don't know what those two numbers are, but then we take them as x and y, and we say that if x into y is 0, then as per the zero product property, at least one of them is 0, meaning either your x has to be 0 or your y has to be 0. Now this is a common sense, this is according to the mathematical logic that when you have two numbers and if the product of those two numbers is 0, then either one of those two numbers is 0 or both the numbers are 0. And that is why if ever while solving factorization method we get such type of conclusion where we get two terms whose product is equal to 0, then immediately by using zero product property we are going to say that either the first term is 0 or the second term is 0, and using this property we would be trying to find the value of x in the given quadratic equation. So let's start. The question says that you're supposed to solve the following quadratic equations using factorization method. Now, why do we call it as factorization method? Because here we would be using the factors of a particular number to solve the equation. So here the first equation is x square minus 15x plus 54 equals to 0. Now, whenever you are solving an equation using factorization method, the first step that you need to do is you need to take the consider the coefficient of the first term and the last term along with its sign and try to take its product. If you see the coefficient of x square over here, it is 1, that is plus 1, and the constant term or the last term is plus 54. So we know that 1 into 54 is equal to 54. Now, as the name suggests, it is the factorization method. So we would try to find out the factors of 54 such that when you add those two factors, you're going to get the coefficient of x, which is minus 15. So 54 comes in the table of, if you try to remember, 54 comes in the table of 9 into 6 or 6 into 9, right? We have higher multiples, like we have multiples of 2 also, so that like when you multiply 2 with a number you will get 54 in that case, but right now we would be seeing the nearby ones so that we would get minus 15 as the answer. So here if you see 54 factors are 6 and 9, and when you add 6 and 9 you do get answer as 15. But here if you see, we want answer as minus 15. That is why what I'll be doing is I'll be putting minus sign to both the numbers. So here if you see, minus 6 and minus 9 would of course give you minus 15. And yes, when you try to take the product of these two numbers, you are again going to get back 54. So the signs of the numbers should be decided in such a manner that when you add them, you get the middle term, and when you multiply them, you get the product of the first and the last term. So here if you see, instead of minus 15, now we would be writing minus 6 and minus 9. So this, in factorization method, our first or foremost aim is to split the middle term. So now your equation becomes x square minus 6x minus 9x plus 54 equals to 0. Now instead of minus 15x, I have written minus 6x minus 9x. I haven't changed the question. I have just rewritten minus 15x as minus 6x minus 9x. Now here, your equation gets converted into this form where you would be having 4 terms. You need to make 2 groups. Each group would have 2 terms. So this is the first group and this is the second group. And try to take common terms from each of the groups. So if you consider the first group, the common term in the first group is x. So we are going to take x common. Agar x ko bahar nikala, then here in the bracket there would be x minus 6 that is left. Now while you're taking common from the next group, make sure कि आप ऐसा element बाहर निकालो so that the leftover thing that is there in the bracket is same as x minus 6. So and for that you also need to make changes in the sign as well. So here if you see अपन को x minus 6 चाहिए in the next term as well. So I am going to take minus 9 common. If I take minus 9 common, then inside the bracket x would be left and 6. Since I am taking minus 9 common, तो 54 को हम लोग we can write it as 9 into 6. So since we are taking minus 9 common, that is why we would have minus 9, and inside the bracket we would have x minus 6 equals to 0. Now we are going to take x minus 6 common. If I take x minus 6 common, we would be left with x minus 9 equals to 0. Now here if you see, you have got two terms whose product is equal to 0. Therefore by zero product property, we can say that by zero product property, x minus 6 is equal to 0 or x minus 9 is equals to 0. This implies either your x is 6 or your x is equal to 9. I have just shifted 6 and 9 on the other side, and this is how you get the solution for the given quadratic equation using factorization method. Now let's move on to problem number 2, which is 2y square plus 27y plus 13 equals to 0. As per step number 1, I am going to take the product of first and the third term के coefficients. That is, I would be taking product of 2 and plus 13. So 2 into 13 is 26. I am supposed to factorize 26 so that when I add, I get 27. So I know that 26 can be written as 26 into 1, and if you try to add 26 and 1, you get answer as 27. So here if you see, since the sign of 27 is plus, even the product is even the product is also positive. That is why you don't have to think about what sign you're supposed to give. It is plus only always for every number. So again, I took the product of first and the last number, which is 2 into 13, which is 26. Then I tried to factorize 26 such that the factors add up to the middle term, which is 27. That is why now immediately I would be rewriting the middle term as 26y plus y plus 13 equals to 0. Now I would be dividing the 4 terms into 2 groups, each of 2 terms. Here if you see, I can take 2y common. If I take 2y common, inside the bracket y plus 13 would be left. In the next 2 terms, there is nothing that you can take common, and if there is nothing that you can take common, there is always plus 1 or minus 1 accordingly as per the demand of the terms that are left in the first bracket. You are supposed to take plus 1 or minus 1 common. In this case, you need y plus 13. If we take plus 1 common, we get y plus 13 equals to 0. Now again, I'm supposed to take y plus 13 common because that is the similar term that exists. So inside the bracket, 2y plus 1 would be left, and this is equal to 0. Now again, by zero product property, we get y plus 13 is equal to 0 or 2y plus 1 is equal to 0. This implies that your y would be equal to minus 13 or your 2y would be equal to minus 1. That is how your y would be equal to minus 1 by 2. I have just shifted 1 on the other side. Then since you have 2 into multiplication with y, when it goes on the other side, it is divided by minus 1. And this is the solution for the second problem. Now similarly, let us try to find the values of x for the third problem. The third question is root 2 x square plus 7x plus 5 root 2 equals to 0. Now here again we would be taking the product of the coefficient of the first term and the last term. So root 2 into 5 root 2. We all know that root 2 into root 2 is 2. So we get 5 into 2, which is equal to 10. We are supposed to factorize 10 so that we get the answer to be 7. So can I write 5 and 2? Now since again here positive, every number has positive sign, that is why there is no need of thinking about what sign should go with the number 5 or go with the number 2, right? So here if you take addition of both these numbers, you get the answer to be 7. Again, when I take root 2 into 5 root 2, we get 5 into 2. ये 2 कहाँ से आया? When you multiply two similar roots, the roots get cancelled out. Why is that so? Root 2 into root 2 is root 2 ka square. Square and square root gets cancelled. You get answer to be 2. 5 into 2 is 10 and 10 के factors are 5 and 2 जिसका addition comes out to be 7. So you are going to rewrite the middle term as root 2x square plus 5x plus 2x plus 5 root 2 equals to 0. Now again try to form two groups and take the common terms. So in the first group there is just x that you can take common. So there is root 2x plus 5 that's left. Similarly, if you see over here, your 2 can be written as root 2 into root 2. तो इधर भी इधर दो root 2s है और यहाँ पे एक root 2 है. So we can take one root 2 common. If I take one root 2 common, then one root 2 would be left inside, x बचेगा and 5 बचेगा equals to 0. Now take the common term root 2x plus 5. अगर इसको common लिया तो यहाँ से सिर्फ x बचेगा. This is plus root 2 equals to 0. Again, we would be using the zero product property to say that either your root 2x plus 5 is equal to 0 or your x plus root 2 is equal to 0. Now, again, you're supposed to isolate the value of x to get उसका proper numerical value. So root 2x would be equal to minus 5. Hence your x would be equal to minus 5 upon root 2. Similarly, here your x would be equal to minus of root 2. And this is how you would be getting the values or solution for the third equation as well. So in today's class, we learned how to find the solutions of a quadratic equation using factorization method. This method is called as factorization method because here we use the factors of a particular number to rewrite the middle term and then find the solutions for the given equation accordingly. So I hope you all have understood what has been taught, and see you soon in the next video. Thank you.